Mike, what you up to today? Today we're going down to the garden and we're going to trellis up some cherry tomatoes. Also, I'm going to show you how I trellis them, plus we're going to prune them on the bottom, get those limbs and leaves off the ground. So let's head on down to the garden. Now before we head down to the garden, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of the things I'm going to use for trellising the tomatoes. First thing that I'm going to use is what's called crop clips. I picked these up off of Amazon. The crop clips look like this here. What they do is you put this around your trellis netting, this part right here. It clamps to the netting and you just close it around your plant and secures it to the trellis. I'll show you how I do this down in the garden, but that's what I'll be using. Also, what I'll be using are some little trimmers. I picked these up from Ace, and this is what I'm going to use to prune the bottom of the cherry tomatoes. So now, let's go down to the garden. Okay, we're down here at the trellis. Here's the cherry tomato plants. They're beginning to kind of fall over, so I need to keep those up on the trellis and keep them out of the walkways and up off the ground. So, I'm going to use one of these crop holders, and what it does is it just goes around the trellis like that and it squeezes in place just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and that's how I do it. And I just go around periodic different spots and put clips around everything to hold it back onto the trellis. I'm going to go around to the other side now. Okay, go ahead and put this around the trellis netting. Come around like that. Now as these plants grow, you're going to have to move these around. So for right now, I'm going to keep them like that. Now, if you have limbs that obviously you can't pull towards the trellis, what you could do is, I put the plant in this little area here, and I put the other around the other trunk, and I just pull the limbs together and clip them. So one limb holds up the other limb. So even if you're not using trellising, you can use these to support limbs to other limbs. Like this one here, it's out. I'm going to go ahead and clip it to another limb close by to hold it up. That way the limbs don't come into your walkway. And as your plants grow, you'll have to readjust the clips. And that's how I do it. So I use them not only to clip to the plants to the trellis, but I use them to clip to each other. So it works out really good. Now that I got that pretty much clipped up the way I like, then I take my trimmers and I'll go ahead and trim the bottom limbs off the ground so they stay off the ground and no disease is added to the plant. So we'll do that next. Okay, now you see all this foliage that's touching the ground or it's going toward the ground. It's getting discolored. You're going to get some disease on your plant if you don't keep that off the ground. So I have some small pruners, again, like I got from Ace, and I just go in here and I just snip off the pieces that are on the ground or heading toward the ground. I like to use little pruners because when I use my fingers to trim these off, a lot of times sometimes the little limbs will split and they'll run down the stem of the plant and open it up, and I don't really like that because that's a possibility of adding some disease to the plant. So I like to use these trimmers. So I just go around the base of these tomato plants and I just cut out the stuff I see that's on the ground or headed toward the ground pretty close. Clean it up really nice. Nice clean cuts. Get a nice airflow through the bottom. Just like so. And there, all the limbs are off the bottom, got good airflow through there, so no disease will set in on the plant. And I'll just come out here every couple days and I'll just readjust my little clips to hang to the trellis. I'll adjust those, and if there's any trimming that needs to be done, I trim away then. But I don't want to get too aggressive with it because I want the plant to grow and see where these limbs go. But that's how I trellis my tomato plants. Well, my cherry tomato plants anyway, and how I prune from the bottom. Okay, here we have the cherry tomatoes all trellised for right now. And like I said, we'll have to readjust it as the season goes because the plants will go about 6-7 feet up this trellis, and we'll have to adjust the clips and, of course, do our pruning. So this is the way it looks now. You just want to keep the plant as close as you can to the trellis and out of your pathways. But that's how I do it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.